That's amazing. All right. So who has questions? We're just gonna do it past the mic. So ask your questions here, get them out the way, and obviously this was designed as a small sample of what everybody can do. Please reach out to these people, right? This is a beginning. This is not like it's over. Make sure whatever you need from anybody here, they're all willing to help. Like this was not gonna be something that is ending. We're gonna do another one, something like this in the future. We have a lot of ideas. Chris, who's it for?
Well, it came up with Sabrina, but I'm sure several of you up here could answer the question. GCs, you went through several of them. I'm sure you have advice on how to pick one out that's going to work out, more likely to work out better.
So what I do now is GCs are funny. You can call every project. I call 5. 3 show up. Of the 3, I walk the property and I tell every single one I want X, Y, Z. I tell them the exact same thing so that they're all giving me the same scope of work. When I walk the property with them, and I don't know about the men in the room, but me as a female, sometimes GCs get squirrely and they won't look at me in the eye when they're talking to me, or they have terrible communication skills, or they just don't say anything. So if those ones do that, I know that they're gonna be like that in transaction, and you can't have that. Like the project I'm working on right now, I talk to my GC every day. I want photo updates. I want to know when XYZ is done. So that's kind of how, if I don't know the person from anywhere, that's how I vet them. The other thing too is I always go with people who have worked with the person first. So if I can't find a personal referral, then I'll go look on social media or Google or whatever. But I always look personal referral first, and then almost like an interview each one of them, walk the property with each one of them. And then you get the bids. A lot of times I've gotten bids, that one Will Rose house, I got a bid from one contractor that was $250,000. And I told that guy, I said, I could build a house with that. What are you even saying to me? And then the other 2 bids, one was 95 and the other one was 115. So then you can kind of gauge their pricing once you have the 3 to compare. But that's what I do. And I just kind of trust my gut. If this guy feels squirrely, well, I'm not going to work with him. And then the pay structure also. Some GCs, like I said, and I learned, they want little payments every other day, it feels like. Don't work with those. You are the boss, you own the house, you set the pay structure. So you're I do 20% down, I'll do another 25 chunk, 20 chunk, and then you leave the last big chunk at the end, so they don't get squirrely at the end and they actually finish the project.
I mean, I'll say this, when it comes to the pay structure, I put 0 down. We don't start by giving money away. Any supply, to this point, we basically know, especially with the projects we're doing, what it is it's gonna take. So we have a managed account at Home Depot. They can pick stuff up from Home Depot, but we don't just hand out money for just whatever. Usually it's 4 or 5 phases, and Sabrina's absolutely right. 30-40% of the payment for that whole project should be the final payment, because she's not wrong. What happened to her with that one contract will happen every time. They just, if they're mostly paid, but not mostly done, they're mostly leaving, so.
So I'm going to give perspective from the lender side, because just in the last year I did 240 deals. So I've seen a lot of transactions. And I would say when you guys are talking to GCs, everyone says it'll be a 3-month flip. It's not. So a GC says 3, think more like 6. I would say add 3. And then talk to your GCs about timeline. How many projects are they doing? Are they just taking on a bunch because people will give them 20%? And kind of see how they manage that. What happens if you're super late? What's your damage control on that? But just, I also see all of the ugly stuff too, so.
As a hard mover, what happens when the deal goes bad? Let's say Sabrina buys a house and then it turns out that no cost. What do you do as a lender?
So that's the misconception that most people think lenders want your house, that we want to foreclose, because that's actually an issue for us, because we don't want to foreclose. So finding a lender that works with you on your strategy. So most hard money loans are 12 months. So about 9 months, you're gonna, I schedule, I contact you, say, how's your project going? If I don't already know, because I usually am pretty good about that. And at 9 months, if you're like, man, winter was tough, like we didn't work at all, we're 5 months delayed, we're gonna talk about an extension. If you're more delayed, we're gonna talk about refinancing and maybe a whole another 12-month loan. I don't think in my 4.5 years, I know in 4.5 years, we've never said, sorry, project fell apart, give us all our money back. Like, that's not the goal. We get nasty when you don't respond to us, or when you hide stuff, or you don't like work with us. But trust me, most of us hard monies, I'm calling you if you're delayed. I'm calling you if you're late. I'm calling you if there's issues. So I don't want that either. So just work with your lender. You should be comfortable enough to be like, hey, this is all going to hell. I need a new GC. I'm going to have to restart, or I've got to sell this project and take a loss. Have the conversation and just be upfront, because there's a lot we can do to kind of mitigate damage. Because if you do not handle it before your 12 months is up, it goes into 24% interest or more. And after that, we're pissed. So communicate early and problem solve with us early.
I wake up tomorrow, I say I want to go ahead and flip a house. What are the first 5 steps I need to do?
First 5 steps if you want to flip a house.
Yeah.
I would talk to one of us flippers and I would get a mentor, right? Somebody who can walk you through, and because they're going to ask you questions like, is your name Charlie?
Choice.
Choice. I'm going to say, Choice, okay, you want to flip a house, that's amazing. I want to get you there. What kind of money do you have to work with? And you might say, I really don't have any money. Like, okay, great. Let's talk to a friend of yours or a family member that can partner with you, and then let's get a good hard money lender like Melissa. So let's start working on the financing piece. But first of all, I need to know what you have to participate. And if you don't have anything, then we're going to find a partner. And then it's really working with an agent or a real estate broker that understands flipping. And they don't teach flipping in real estate school, just FYI, guys. So you want to work with somebody like Sabrina or like myself or anyone else up here who understands the flipping game. Rico, Kenny, any of those people who have actually flipped multiple houses before that can help you find a project. Because you have to make sure that it's all about the numbers. The numbers have to work. It's not good enough just to find an icky, stinky house. The icky, stinky house has to have the ARV, and all the numbers have to make sense. So we start with the ARV, what's the purchase price, how much is the rehab, and if it's a go, then we go. So those are the first 2 most important steps, and finding the contractor, to me, isn't the hardest part. The hardest part is let's figure out the money piece, and then let's find the right project, and just making sure you're working with somebody who's going to handhold you through the first one. And once you get through the first one, then you're like, oh, I get it. There's nothing like you can see something happen, but once you do something and it really comes to life and you start to understand it. So that would be part of building your team.
I got one for you, Kenny. Actually, for Raphael, since you're down from LA, I'm a big hip hop head, music lover. One of your best friends left the biggest legacy in hip hop. Not only hip hop, but culture in LA, in the world. I was just wondering if you could share anything else, maybe a story that you have, a piece of his mentality. If it's a little personal, I totally understand, but just, as a music lover, someone who followed his journey, to have you in the room, I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Shout out Nip.
Sure.
Definitely, great question, bro, and long live the great. Man, so I grew up with this guy. He was always a genius. Like, we're best friends, and the reason why I made him my best friend is because he did it effortlessly. So when it came to getting straight A's in school, he didn't have to study. When it came to making a half-court shot, he didn't even have to look. He could throw behind his back. Everything was graceful. Everything was like a form of success on his end. So it was kind of weird to see the world reacting to what you guys saw him be as Nipsey Hussle, because I've always known him to be the ultimate. Have all the girls, pretty boy, have all the shoes, the Jordans, the pennies, and when we hit this peak of success via business, that's what I teach when it comes to my government contracts to these incarcerated youth, that we made it via business. We had no other options. Growing up where we grew up, the odds were against us, made mistakes when we were young, didn't have dreams of grabbing a corporate 9-to-5 because We got tickets for selling blank CDs, all these types of different things. And business was really it. So when we hit this peak where it's like now, okay, here I am dealing with global franchises. Here you are, the biggest hip hop artist out right now. It was very enlightening and very, it was very enlightening and very inspirational to see how he operated at that level of being the ultimate. Wish we had more time, I had more photos I could show you. There's a photo of him and I, and when we reconnected at that level, a couple hours before he had broke down to me, like, bro, the reason why I'm really hyped about the Subway deal is because I've been talking to Rick Ross. He's been trying to get me over to Wingstop. If you guys know hip hop, that's a part of their revenue flow. You're gonna have a food endorsement, an alcohol endorsement, a shoe endorsement. Maybe you're gonna monetize on all those different ends. So when it came to food, already being so affiliated with Rick Ross was trying to pull him in on the Wingstop and Checker side. However, Rick Ross wasn't the one operating the franchises. It was one of his friends, E-Class. So he told me, and this probably be a viral story. I never told this story out before. He specifically told me that he didn't really have much trust in that because who was going to be operating the assets, he didn't really know. But meanwhile, he had his best friend here breaking into that. So that's it. I'm Nip the Subway guy. We're going to create 2 sandwiches, the Marathon, the Hustle. We shot a whole documentary. The photo you saw was us shooting a documentary and all those different things. We're going to buy the Subway on Crenshaw and Slauson, move it over to their shopping center. So again, ownership piece, real estate. We're going to buy the rights because of territory rights. We're going to buy it across the street, kind of like the donut shop, literally across the way. Buy it for $600K just to take the logo off and have the rights to walk it across the street and put it into their $2 million shopping center and build the value that way. They're not paying rent to anybody. They own the franchise, they own the property. And when talking to him about this, his whole strategy on this, I'm like, man, okay, let's take it more of a little personal level, man. You're the man now, things that sort of like, it's gonna be tough for you to assist in managing this and having your head on the right hand. That's when I knew that at this level, this man was ultimately focused. He told me, he's like, man, bro, when you see me at these clubs, partying, and all these different things, holding bottles, it's really because there's I'm using the term bag, but there's a money bag attached to it. I'm not just out at the clubs partying. I'm not just out on a Saturday relaxing because I've made millions and sitting back. He was still focused, locked in, worried about family. He told me he's at home running payroll with his wife, Lauren London. That's a big detail. His girl, Lauren London, and with the kids running around sipping red wine. And at that point, that's where I felt like we really synergized to where it's just like, I'm doing the same things, man. I just bought this Subway, I'm doing payroll tomorrow. I don't have time to go to the club tonight. I got to wake back up and, operate this business. And for me to see that he was already where he was at, just getting started on the crazy trajectory and had that mindset, that kind of inspired me to uphold what I was doing, build what I was building. When it comes to business funding, he bought food, about $500 worth of food when he came in that day. And when it came to payment, I'm thinking this is the typical, oh yeah, here you go, pulling out wads of cash. And this guy pulled out a gold Amex card with the corporation name on the front. First time ever seeing that. And I'm looking at it, hold on, you're the big rapper, gold chains, this and that, and you're paying me with a gold Amex card with the corporation on it, and your executive assistant is paying. That's when I knew it was, going next level. So, that's just a story to say, but the inspiration behind everything that he did is what's fueling and motivating me not to give up. Again, I think Ann said it. There's been multiple times. Again, you guys saw a pandemic. You guys went through it. Food was the first to get front of the line and get slaughtered. I mean, Subway started when I got into the system at 27,000 locations. They're down to about sub 18 now. So even now, how do I deal with that fear? How do I deal with that heart drop every time I think of it, But again, the faith, the operational structure, the structuring of myself, having all my assets lined up. Should I have to liquidate? Should I have to bankrupt on this one, I can still protect the rest of my assets. These are real deal situations that you deal with in real estate, any type of business, anything, especially in the franchise world. So the story served as motivation, but overall, it put me in the mindset that I'm pushing on to you guys now. Again, eat the frog, stay the course, and stay the course. And here she is now celebrating a $20 million portfolio. You gotta stay the course. You gotta buy these franchises low, buy this real estate low, run it up, gain the value, sell at the high. It's always gonna be a high as long as you maintain operations. Don't deviate from the plan. It's gonna be boring. Live with being bored. Have fun outside of that. But be bored handling payroll of $100K a month versus being bored, struggling, and wondering when the next thing is coming in. Systems are set. These people can help you set systems, especially on the real estate end. Infuse the franchise in that. Buy a shopping center. Sabrina, help. Let's flip a shopping center and let's now get you approved with all these franchise brands to have your shopping center full of a Baskin Robbins, a McDonald's, a 7-Eleven, and a Subway. All different concepts, but again, they're all yours. So that's just taking us to the next level. So sorry for being long-winded, but I had to tie that in, man. Thank you.
That was good. That was good. All right. Go ahead.
I always burn out the time.
No, you're good, you're good. I was just trying to, I think I might hit a fire round here, because I had a couple of questions, so I'm gonna ask some questions for you guys. Ben, what is one way that somebody can make some money with AI in like the next 45 days?
AI has more knowledge and history than any of us will ever have, so you can't build something generic. It's gonna take all of our studying and research, it already is, right? You can't beat AI, you can't sell that AI, you can't package that. You can package what you know into AI. So that's not going to go away for 5 or 10 years. So whenever you're thinking about trying to monetize or build something in your system, it's your knowledge. You can leverage AI to build something, a course, a knowledge base, an email thread, 5 or 10 emails, your processes, and you could sell that, package that and sell it and leverage the AI to help you build that, but use it to pull your knowledge out, because now it's exactly what you did. It's your secret sauce baked in the AI, and no general AI is going to know that. So,
Okay, Rico, for people who have, the phone is like 10,000 pounds when they're trying to call people, what's something they can do when they're like cold calling or reaching out to sellers or business owners?
I think just going out and making the calls and just exercising the muscle, hearing the fuck offs and quit calling me and hearing those over and over again, you'll just get used to it. And
this is not my idea, but someone said had KPIs on cold calling, and he basically did the equation and said every time I pick up the phone, it's $20. And that made it a lot easier to pick up the phone.
Wow. I do that with a lot of
When I was in the room cold calling and stuff after work, it was just like boring. So then I was like, you know what? Like I want to do this with people, because we're all cold calling at the same time, but we're not kicking it, right? So I called it the kick it session, and we would do it during COVID, we did it daily. It was daily, literally. And we just jump on Zoom, we BS a little bit, but we'd all just be banging the phones on Zoom together. And then anytime somebody answered, everybody would mute, and then we'd listen to the call. And if you were like struggling, we'd be typing in the chat, like, bail out, get on the phone, and what's up?
One time on the call, Ryan was like writing stuff on it. He's like holding it up and he's scanning this stuff. Like, get on the phone.
Or like, don't forget to ask this. And then you like roll into, oh, yeah, what about the sync? And, so it was really good. If you guys have a group of people, I would suggest doing it. We've been talking about bringing it back. So would anybody enjoy that if we brought that back?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we might bring the kicking session back then. What happened? Oh yeah, I was drinking on the kicking session sometimes. It loosens you up a little bit sometimes, but sometimes it's a little bit too much. But I would say, as far as cold calling and stuff like that, I would just remember you're the leverage. Sometimes when we call, we're trying to prove our worth. They should be showing you why their house fits your model. And then also, if you lead with service and you know like there's somebody on the other line that needs you, it's easier to call, because if you don't call, you can't help that person. And as long as you're trying to help, if you do good or do bad, you had a good intention about it. So, and never be afraid to lose a deal. If it's meant for you, it's gonna be for you. If it wasn't, it's not your deal. So you're just showing up, waiting on the deal that's perfect for you to happen. What do we say? We're not deal creators. We're deal architects, and But anyway, what else do we got? You got any more questions, or D? Go ahead.
Hey, I got a question for you out there. I know that you only got 5 slots for the student involved.
One slot now. Shout out to everybody that took the opportunity.
One slot. If I can't get that one slot, where can I go to get that information that I would otherwise get to?
I got you. No, most definitely. There's a matchmaker assessment that I've created. Again, using what I know it should be considered when even searching for a brand, that I have all my clients take first. It's like a test. And you're answering questions about yourself that I use to make an analysis in my mind. My mind works weird when it comes to franchising. Lots of things that you guys don't think about because I've experienced it. And I take that assessment, we get on a call, and from there we go down the rabbit hole of finding sectors and brands that match you. So if you can't, as of today, I mean, talk to Kenny, we gotta talk this week. I think we're gonna max out the 5 slots. Operationally, I'd probably just like a few days for me to put things in place because, again, I handhold. I told Ellen earlier today, I don't pass you guys off to any of my staff. I handhold you. When it comes to administrative things, I allow them to create reports, things of that sort. Don't have time to do so, but I handhold you through the process of acquisition. These brands know me. I'm coming on as a face, introducing you. Fall back, let you do your thing. We reconvene afterwards. So if you can't get in on the slot now, that's fine. You're gonna go to the franchiseguysconsulting.com. There I have a matchmaker assessment link. You're gonna fill out the matchmaker assessment link and submit it. And at the confirmation page, there's a link to book a call with me. That call, I may have limited slots, but that call is where you'll have a 15-minute slot for us to go over the results. Then you're locked in with me and we'll go through that process. So that's the best way. If we're gonna talk, have the assessment done so we can have a thorough conversation versus a conversation where I'm gonna tell you to go do the assessment. Book up on the franchiseguysconsulting.com. Testimonials on there. You guys can hear from my girl Sheena. I have more testimonials and all that stuff on there, so you guys can kind of hear what our process looks like. So, great question, but D, you already locked in, man. But for anybody else, yeah, if you want to take advantage.
All right, fire around real quick. Crystal, what is the best way to find off-market business, not like biz by sale?
Well, first of all, I hate biz by sell. It is the worst, and so are most brokers. Honestly, the easiest way now is to leverage AI. It is, I used Claude the other day. We are looking to expand our window and door business into siding, decking, roofing, most of the other outside envelope trades. And so all I put into Claude was a prompt that basically said, I need you to scrape King County. I need you to scrape Google. I need you to scrape everything in this area that does this thing. Look at websites, look at LinkedIn, and it returned in a very pretty Excel sheet with different tabs saying what these companies did, the name of the owner, if they could find it, their phone numbers, what the business does, what their estimated employee count is, so that I can kind of gauge how much money they're actually making. And it returned it with, here's your siding companies, they also do windows, here's your decking companies, here's the door companies. That was the best way for me to do it. So you can also pay people to do it for you, but if you can leverage AI first, I would just do that.
Thank you. Okay, this might be, some of this stuff I'm asking, you guys might have saw on slides, but sometimes it's just hearing it again. But so Paige, if I had a policy and I wanted to do a flip out of the policy, is that possible, like in a life insurance?
So you would borrow against the cash value. So that's why you can't really see an example, but creating your own cash reserve or making a family bank is all about just building that upfront. Just like even with savings, right? The more you put in, the growth is going to happen faster because you have something in a significant amount. So from there, you can borrow up to 90% against it, and then you can take that cash out, and you can pay it back on your own timeline. And so in this example, it's showing either 100,000 or 120,000. The whole life was for 120,000 per year, and then for 10 years, and then the IUL was for 5 years, $500,000. And so, like I said, whole life you can access the cash in 30 days. With IULs, usually 1 to 3 years, but I do we work with a carrier named Allianz who allows you to access it in 30 days. Again, it's about how much you put in and how we structure it. So yes, you can borrow against that. And I'll just make a note, I mentioned this earlier, kind of similar to Raphael, like I don't charge for my time, the partner does, or carriers. What they do is you don't see a lot of insurance companies doing ads. We're not working with PEMCO, we're not working with Nationwide, none of these companies. We're working with actual companies that work with wealthy families that in utilizing insurance. And so I have access to over 40 A-rated carriers, and we'll find one that matches you and what you're looking for, and based on kind of like where you are in your life, and then how much you want to, how much premiums you want to put in every year. But it really comes down to you. What can you put in every year? So that's something to keep in mind. And also there's option where you can front load it. We have structures where you can actually say, I had a client who has $600,000 in his money market account. I was like, are you crazy? Like $600,000 in a money market account, you're not even getting 4%. And he's like, oh, I'm just waiting to do a down payment from this. And so we could have, so we strategize and we position some of that funds into a policy to really front load it in the beginning. So by the time like second year, it's like, I mean, you can easily access, the amount that you need. And again, you kind of have to think about how much do you need next year or that 30 days? How much cash do you need to access? So that's the long answer to your question. But yes, you can.
Maybe. So then, question. Can I use PadSplit if I have a creative deal like Sub2 or Seller Finance, or does it have to be a conventional?
So we do have people who are basically getting the property under kind of like a subcontract. So it might be from a Sub2 or might be through the seller of the property, and they're basically leasing it and then running it as a PadSplit. So some of the details need to be coordinated with the owner of the property, but you can do that kind of arbitrage similar to Airbnb. I don't see a lot of it done here locally, so I think it's a great opportunity if you know what you're doing. I wouldn't be doing it if you don't know how to operate co-living and rent by room, but PadSplit is definitely, you see that in other markets. Yeah.
Thank you.